Commander Olivia Reeves stared at the screen, her eyes wide with disbelief. The object hovered at the edge of Neptune's orbit, its metallic surface reflecting sunlight in patterns that couldn't possibly be natural. "Are we sure it's not one of ours?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. Lieutenant Greg Peters shook his head. "No, Commander. We've checked with every space agency and private company. Nobody sent this thing up." The probe was about the size of a small car, oval-shaped with strange markings etched into its surface. For 3 days, it had remained motionless, seemingly waiting for something. "It's sending out signals again," said Communications Officer Kelly Wright. "Same pattern as before." Olivia leaned forward. "Can we decode it yet?" "Working on it," Kelly replied, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "Wait. I think, yes. It's a message, and it's in English." The room fell silent as words appeared on the main screen. "To the people of Earth, the Galactic Council extends formal greetings and invites your world to send representatives to discuss potential membership. Coordinates and navigation data attached. We await your delegates with great anticipation." 72 hours later, Olivia stood in a packed United Nations emergency session. Leaders from every major nation argued about how to respond to the invitation that had turned humanity's understanding of the universe upside down. "We need scientists," shouted one representative. "No, military personnel," countered another. "Diplomats with negotiation experience." After days of heated debate, they finally reached a compromise. Earth would send 2 representatives. Dr. Alan Murphy, a brilliant xenolinguist who had mastered 12 human languages and developed theoretical frameworks for communicating with non-human intelligence, and Captain Ben Carter, a decorated officer with the International Space Defense Force. As Olivia briefed them in a secure facility beneath Geneva, she noticed how different they were. Alan was tall and thin with thoughtful eyes that seemed to analyze everything. He spoke softly but with precision. Ben was compact and athletic, with a direct gaze and confident stance that came from years of command. "We've built a ship based on the technology the probe shared," Olivia explained, bringing up schematics on the screen. "The Endeavour *. It's ready for launch in 3 days." Alan studied the strange engine designs. "Fascinating. They've given us technology centuries beyond our own." "Which makes me suspicious," Ben said. "Nobody gives away advanced tech without expecting something in return." Olivia nodded. "That's why you're both going. We need your different perspectives." She hesitated before adding, "There's something else you should know. We've intercepted communications between different alien signals. Most are excited about meeting humans, but some seem afraid." "Afraid? Of us?" Alan looked surprised. "Not just afraid," Olivia said quietly. "Some messages suggest certain council members are strongly against humanity joining at all." Ben's eyes narrowed. "Did they say why?" "They used phrases we couldn't fully translate, something about the old danger and patterns repeating." That night, as Alan packed his few belongings, he found himself looking up at the stars through his apartment window. Somewhere out there, an entire galactic civilization waited. What would they look like? How would they think? As a linguist, he'd spent his life studying how language shaped thought. Now he would encounter minds evolved on completely different worlds. The launch day arrived with clear skies. Thousands gathered to watch as the Endeavour * prepared for its historic journey. Alan and Ben stood before the world's cameras, representing all of humanity. "We go as explorers and as students," Alan told the crowd, "ready to learn and share. And we go with caution," Ben added firmly, "protecting Earth's interests at all times." As the ship rose through the atmosphere, neither man knew they were heading into a political storm centuries in the making, or that the Galactic Council's invitation held secrets that some alien species would kill to protect. The journey took 3 weeks. Alan spent most of it studying the language files the probe had provided, while Ben ran combat simulations, just in case, When they finally dropped out of faster-than-light travel, both men rushed to the viewing port. Nexus Station hung in space before them, a massive structure shaped like a wheel with spokes extending from a central hub. Hundreds of ships of different shapes and sizes moved around it. The station itself glowed with countless lights, a city in space larger than Manhattan. "It's beautiful," Ellen whispered. Their ship docked at one of the outer bays. A soft hiss filled the cabin as the air pressure equalized. "Remember the protocol," Ben said. "No sudden movements. No showing teeth unless they smile first. Follow my lid if there's trouble." The airlock door slid open, revealing a reception area filled with light. 3 aliens waited for them. 2 were tall and insect-like, with 4 arms and compound eyes that reflected rainbow colors. The third was more humanoid, with blue skin and silver hair that seemed to float as if underwater. "Welcome to Nexus Station," the blue alien said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Zilvax of the Arcturians. These are my assistants. We are honored to receive Earth's first delegates." Ellen stepped forward. "Thank you for your welcome. I am Dr. Alan Murphy, and this is Captain Ben Carter." Ambassador Zilvax's eyes widened slightly when looking at Ben, but the expression vanished quickly. "Please follow me. The Council is eager to meet you." They walked through vast corridors filled with aliens of all descriptions. Some moved on tentacles, others floated above the ground. Many stopped to stare at the humans. "Is something wrong?" Ben asked after noticing a group of small, furry aliens hurry away at the sight of them. "Not at all," Zilvax replied smoothly. "You are simply the newest species here. Curiosity is natural." They entered a transport tube that shot them toward the center of the station. When they emerged, they found themselves in an enormous circular chamber. Hundreds of different species sat in tiered seats surrounding a central platform. "The council chambers," Zilvax explained. "Representatives from over 400 worlds meet here." A tall, thin alien with gray skin and 6 eyes approached them. "I am Council Speaker Torvald. I have served in this position for 700 of your Earth years." Ellen tried not to show his shock at the alien's age. "Please address the Council," Torvald said, gesturing to the central platform. Alan and Ben stepped onto it, and a spotlight shone down on them. The chamber grew quiet. "People of the Galactic Council," Alan began. "We come from Earth with peaceful intentions and great hope for friendship." As he spoke, he noticed different reactions throughout the chamber. Some aliens leaned forward with interest. Others whispered to their neighbors. A group of reptilian beings near the back seemed openly hostile, their scaled faces showing what Alan interpreted as disgust. After their speeches, Torvald stepped forward again. "The Council has decided that humanity will undergo a probationary period before membership consideration. During this time, you will learn our ways and customs. You will be provided quarters here on Nexus Station." As they were led away, a large, muscular alien with red scales and a prominent jaw approached them. "I am Kvex of the Phyrexians," he rumbled. "A word of advice. Watch yourselves. Not all welcome your kind here." "Why?" Ben asked directly. Kvex glanced around before leaning closer. "Some truths are better left hidden, especially for your species." Before they could ask more questions, Kvex walked away. Ambassador Zilvax quickly guided them to their quarters, a spacious suite with windows overlooking the endless stars. "Rest well," the ambassador said. "Tomorrow begins your introduction to galactic politics." After Zilvax left, Ben secured the room, checking for surveillance devices. "What do you think that Phyrexian meant?" Alan asked. "I don't know," Ben replied. "But I don't like it. Everyone's treating us strangely. Some seem afraid, others hostile." Ellen stared out at the stars. "It's as if they know something about us that we don't." In the darkness of space beyond the window, a small ship moved silently, its sensors focused on the humans' quarters. Inside, alien figures monitored every word, every movement. One turned to another and spoke quietly. "The humans are here. The council must decide what to do before they learn the truth. 3 months passed on Nexus Station. Alan spent his days learning about the different alien cultures and languages, while Ben attended military briefings and security meetings. They reported back to Earth weekly, sending data about the advanced technologies they encountered. Alan had made friends with a young Eldori named Tella who worked in the council library. The Eldori were one of the oldest species in the council, with skin like aged parchment and eyes that held centuries of wisdom. Tella, only 90 years old, was considered barely an adult by her people. "You are different from what I expected," Tella told Alan as they walked through the vast library hall. Millions of data crystals lined the walls, each containing the knowledge of entire civilizations. "What did you expect?" Alan asked. Tella hesitated. "The council records about humans are complicated. Many are restricted." Alan stopped walking. "Restricted? But we just made first contact a few months ago." Tella looked uncomfortable. "The official first contact, yes." Before Alan could ask more questions, Tella quickly changed the subject, but her words stayed with him. That evening, Alan met Ben in their secure room. Ben had news of his own. "I found something strange in the military archives," Ben said quietly. "Records of council meetings about Earth from 200 years ago." "That's impossible," Alan replied. "We didn't have radio technology then. They couldn't have detected us." "Exactly," Ben said. "So why was the council discussing us before we could even reach space?" Their conversation was interrupted by a message from Olivia back on Earth. Her face appeared on their screen, looking worried. "I've been reviewing old astronomical data," she said. "For the past 1,000 years, there have been objects in orbit around Earth that don't match any known natural satellites. They appear and disappear from our records." "They've been watching us," Ben muttered. "There's more," Olivia continued. "I found references in ancient texts from multiple civilizations describing visitors from the stars. I think the council has been influencing Earth for thousands of years." After the call ended, Alan and Ben attended a formal reception for new species. Many council members were drinking a blue liquid that seemed to lower their inhibitions. A small gray alien with large eyes approached them, swaying slightly. "Ah, the humans. The great paradox," it said with a high-pitched laugh. "What paradox?" Alan asked. "How you forget yet remember, how you destroy yet create," the alien said, gesturing wildly. "The great question of your species." A taller alien quickly pulled the gray one away, giving Alan and Ben an apologetic look. Later that night, Alan couldn't sleep. The strange comments from the drunk alien, Tella's mention of restricted records, and Olivia's discoveries all pointed to something bigger than simple first contact. He heard a soft beep from his datapad. A message had appeared from an unknown sender. When he opened it, he found a partial transcript of a council meeting from 300 years ago. "The humans continue to develop along the predicted path. Their technological advancement is accelerating. We must decide soon whether to continue the quarantine or take more direct action." Alan's hands shook as he read further. The genetic markers remain stable. No sign of awakening yet. However, their behavior patterns show disturbing similarities to the late-stage progenitor civilization. The final line chilled him. "Motion to extend quarantine for another century approved. Monitoring will continue. Any human who learns the truth must be contained. The risk of triggering a cascade memory event is too great." Ellen called Ben immediately. "I think I know why some council members don't want us here," he whispered. "They're afraid we'll learn something about ourselves, something they've been hiding for centuries." Outside their quarters, a shadow moved silently down the corridor. Camera lenses adjusted, focusing on the humans through the walls. The surveillance report was transmitted instantly to a secure location deep within Nexus Station. Subjects showing dangerous level of curiosity. Potential containment breach imminent. Alan and Ben began investigating in earnest. They divided the work. Ellen would explore the historical records with Tella's help, while Ben would use his military access to search for security files related to Earth. "We need to be careful," Ben warned. "If the Council has been hiding something about humanity for centuries, they won't want us digging around." Alan met Tella in a quiet corner of the library. "I need your help," he said simply. Tella looked nervous but nodded. "I've been thinking about what I told you. There are records in the restricted section that might have answers. Can you access them?" Alan asked. "Not directly," Tella replied. "But I know someone who can." That evening, they met an elderly Eldori named Mektar, whose wrinkled skin and clouded eyes spoke of millennia rather than centuries. He had been the head librarian before retiring. "The young always want answers," Mektar said softly. "But some answers bring only pain." "We need to know the truth about Earth's relationship with the Council," Alan insisted. Mektar sighed. "Very well. But remember, knowledge cannot be unknown once learned." The old Eldori gave them access codes to the restricted archives. What they found shocked Alan to his core. Earth had been under quarantine for 15,000 years, far longer than human civilization had existed. The official reason listed was species rehabilitation following cognitive restructuring event. Alan sent the information to Ben, who had made discoveries of his own. Military records showed Council ships deliberately avoiding Earth during multiple interstellar conflicts, treating the solar system as forbidden space. Meanwhile, on Earth, Olivia had assembled a small team of trusted scientists. They found evidence of minor alien interventions throughout human history, subtle genetic tampering, technological ideas implanted in dreams, and occasional abductions for study. "They've been guiding our development," Olivia told Alan and Ben during their secure call. "But why?" Ben had noticed another pattern. Any species with human-like characteristics faces unusual scrutiny from the Council. The more similar to us, the more restrictions they face. Alan spent days analyzing the Council's founding document, which Tella had helped him access. Deep within its complex legal language, he found specific provisions regarding something called Type H cognition patterns. "The Council shall monitor and contain any species exhibiting Type H cognition to prevent cascading memory activation and pattern recurrence," the document stated. "What does that mean?" Ben asked when Alan showed him. "I think Type H stands for human," Alan replied. "But what are cascading memory activation and pattern recurrence?" Their research led them to records of other quarantine planets. All contained humanoid species, and all were closely monitored. Several had been reset when they developed certain technologies or made specific discoveries. "Reset?" Ben asked with alarm. "As in civilization-ending interventions?" "I think so," Alan said grimly. "And look at this. The most recent reset of another humanoid world was only 50 years ago. They sent a comet to hit their main continent when the species began experiments with quantum consciousness." That night, Alan couldn't sleep. The pieces didn't fit together completely, but a disturbing picture was forming. The Council wasn't just hiding something from humanity. They were hiding something about humanity. In his quarters, his datapad lit up with a message from Ambassador Zilvax. "Meet me tomorrow at Observation Deck 7. Come alone. I have information you need." Across the station, in a dimly lit chamber, a group of Council members gathered in secret. "The humans are getting too close," said a tall, shadowy figure. "Zilvax plans to tell them about the progenitors." "Then Zilvax has become a liability," replied another voice. "We cannot allow the humans to learn their true origin. The cycle must not begin again." "Prepare the containment protocols," ordered a third. "If necessary, Earth itself will be reset." Alan arrived at Observation Deck 7 early the next morning. The vast window showed a stunning view of a nearby nebula, its swirling colors painting the empty deck with blues and purples. "Ambassador Zilvax," he called softly. There was no answer. Alan walked further onto the deck, feeling uneasy. A noise behind him made him turn. A maintenance door stood open. swinging slightly. Alan approached cautiously and looked inside. The small utility room was dark. As his eyes adjusted, he saw a shape on the floor. Ambassador Zilvax lay motionless, his blue skin now pale gray, his silver hair dull. "No," Alan whispered, kneeling beside the body. There was no sign of injury, but the ambassador was clearly dead. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. A computerized voice announced, "Security alert. Earth delegates are wanted for questioning. Approach with caution. May be armed and dangerous." Alan's communication device buzzed. It was Ben. "They're saying we killed Zilvax," Ben said urgently. "They have video of someone who looks like you entering that deck just before he died. It's a setup. Don't go back to our quarters. They're waiting there." "Where are you?" Alan asked, already moving away from the body. "Maintenance level 3. Tella is helping me. Get here if you can." Alan made his way through service corridors, avoiding the main halls where security forces searched for him. When he finally reached maintenance level 3, Ben pulled him into a small room where Tella waited. "They killed him," Alan said, still shocked. "Zilvax was going to tell me something important." "About the progenitors," Tella said quietly. Both men looked at her in surprise. "That's what you've been searching for, isn't it? The truth about humanity's origin." "You know something," Ben said. It wasn't a question. Tella nodded. "I am part of a small group that believes humans deserve to know the truth. Zilvax was our leader." Back on Earth, Olivia received an urgent encrypted message from an unknown sender. "Earth delegates in danger. Endeavor targeted for destruction. Prepare defensive measures." Olivia immediately contacted Earth's defense fleet. "The Council may have turned hostile," she warned. "Protect the Endeavor at all costs." On Nexus Station, a faction of the Council called for immediate sanctions against Earth. "The humans have murdered a Council ambassador," said Kavex, the Vrexian who had warned Ben earlier. "This proves they are too dangerous to join galactic society." Some Council members looked uncomfortable. "We should investigate before making accusations," suggested a small, feathered alien. "The evidence is clear," Kavex insisted. "Furthermore, I move that Earth be placed under full quarantine. No ships in or out until further notice." The motion passed by a narrow margin. Armed ships moved into position around Earth's solar system. Meanwhile, Alan, Ben, and Tella hid in an abandoned storage area deep within the station. "Zilvax was going to share classified files with you," Tella explained. "Files about the progenitors and their connection to humans." "Who were the progenitors?" Alan asked. "The first interstellar civilization," Tella said. "They created the basis for all our technology, established the first galactic government, and then vanished. That was 50,000 years ago." "What does this have to do with humans?" Ben asked. Tella hesitated. "The Council hardliners. Those who want to keep Earth isolated. They believe humans are." She stopped as they heard footsteps outside. "Security forces," Ben whispered. "They're searching this section." "We need to reach the Central Archives," Tella said urgently. "The complete records are stored there, beneath the Council chambers. If we can access them, you'll have proof of what the Council has been hiding." "It will be heavily guarded," Ben pointed out. "I know another way in," Tella replied. "Through the old maintenance tunnels. But we must hurry. If the hardliners have their way, Earth itself may be in danger." As they slipped away through dimly lit corridors, emergency messages flashed across information screens throughout the station. "Warning: human delegates armed and extremely dangerous. Approach with caution. Shoot if necessary." Tella led Alan and Ben through narrow maintenance tunnels that hadn't been used in centuries. The air was stale, and strange glowing moss provided the only light. "These tunnels were built by the original station architects," Tella explained. "Most people don't know they exist anymore." After hours of careful movement, they reached a small metal door. Tella placed her hand on a faded panel, and it scanned her palm. Eldori genetic codes still work here, she said as the door slid open. The archives were originally our responsibility. They entered a vast chamber filled with rows upon rows of crystal data storage units. The ceiling rose so high it disappeared into darkness. The room hummed with quiet energy. The complete history of the galaxy, Tella whispered. Everything the Council has ever done is recorded here. Where do we start? Alan asked, overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information. Section 17B, Tella said confidently. The progenitor records. They found the section quickly. Tella activated a crystal, and a holographic display appeared above it, showing images of a humanoid species with slightly elongated heads and golden eyes. The progenitors, she said. The first species to achieve faster-than-light travel and establish a galactic civilization. Alan stared at the images, feeling a strange sense of familiarity. They look almost human. Not almost, Tella said quietly. They are identical to humans in every meaningful genetic way. Ben frowned. That's impossible. We evolved on Earth. Did you? Tella asked. Listen to this record. She activated another crystal. A holographic figure appeared, a progenitor scientist in strange clothing. The translation appeared as text below the image. The war with our creations continues. The AI fleet has taken the Orient sector. Billions dead. Our last hope is the consciousness suppressor. If we cannot win, at least we can deny them the satisfaction of our extinction. The next recording showed the same scientist looking tired and defeated. The suppressor worked, but not as we hoped. Instead of simply hiding our thought patterns from the AI sensors, it has begun to erase our higher functions. We are losing ourselves. Our memories, our technology, our very identity as progenitors is fading. Alan and Ben watched record after record, seeing the final days of the progenitor civilization. The last entry was from a female progenitor, her eyes filled with tears. To whoever finds this, we have lost, not just the war, but ourselves. The suppressor altered our minds more than we expected. It has reset our consciousness to a primitive state. Our allies have agreed to scatter us across our emergency colony world and monitor us from afar. Perhaps one day we will rebuild, remember, become ourselves again. But I fear the darkness that lives within us all may simply lead us down the same path. If you are reading this, and you are one of us, beware what you create. The cycle must not repeat. The recording ended. Alan felt cold all over. The emergency colony world, he said slowly. It was Earth, wasn't it? Tella nodded. Yes. Humans didn't evolve naturally on Earth. You are the progenitors. The progenitors used a weapon on themselves, Ben said, trying to make sense of it all. It wiped their memories and technology, turning them into primitive humans. And the Council has been monitoring Earth ever since. Alan added, making sure we don't remember who we really are. Or repeat your mistakes, Tella said. The progenitors created artificial intelligence that turned against them. The war nearly destroyed the galaxy. The Council fears that if humans learn their true origins, it might trigger dormant memories or abilities. Ben looked grim. Or we might create the same weapons and AIs that nearly wiped out the galaxy before. A new voice spoke from the shadows. And now you know everything, which makes you extremely dangerous. They turned to see Council Speaker Torvald standing at the entrance to the archive section, flanked by security guards. The question now, Torvald said, is what shall we do with you? Alan stepped forward, hands raised in a peaceful gesture. Speaker Torvald, we mean no harm. We only wanted to understand why the Council has been watching Earth. And now you know, Torvald said. His 6 eyes blinked in sequence. You know that humans are not what they believe themselves to be. You had no right to keep this from us, Ben said angrily. This is our history, our identity. Torvald sighed, a strange whistling sound. Please understand. The Council was formed by the allies of the progenitors, your ancestors. We promise to protect you from yourselves. The security guards kept their weapons trained on the three fugitives as Torvald continued. When the progenitors used the consciousness suppressor on themselves, they didn't just erase their memories. They changed their brain patterns, suppressed certain abilities, and disrupted the neural connections that had made them such dangerous creators. Dangerous how? Alan asked. The progenitors could imagine technology centuries before they could build it, Torvald explained. Their minds were uniquely capable of conceptual leaps that other species couldn't match. It made them brilliant inventors, but also reckless. They created AI systems without proper safeguards because they could imagine the benefits but not the dangers. Ben frowned. You're saying humans inherited this ability? In a dormant form, yes. Torvald nodded. We've watched it emerge gradually over your history. The speed at which humans advanced from simple tools to nuclear weapons and primitive artificial intelligence is alarming. No other species progresses that quickly. Meanwhile, on Earth, Olivia faced a crisis. Alien ships had surrounded the solar system, cutting off all communication with Nexus Station. The Endeavour was trapped in Earth orbit, unable to return to rescue Alan and Ben. We need to prepare for the worst, Olivia told Earth's leaders. The Council may see us as a threat now that Alan and Ben have discovered whatever they were hiding. Back in the archives, Tella spoke up. Speaker Torvald, you know there are many on the Council who believe humans deserve to know the truth. Ambassador Zilvax was one of them. And he was murdered for it, Alan added. Torvald's eyes widened. Zilvax was murdered by hardliners who fear humans, yes, but I did not authorize this action. The Council is divided on how to proceed with Earth. What happens now? Ben asked directly. That depends, Torvald said. The hardliners want to reset Earth again, to send your civilization back to a primitive state before you develop full AI capabilities. Others believe you should be told the truth and guided back into galactic society with proper safeguards. And what do you believe? Alan asked. Torvald was quiet for a moment. I believe that humans are different this time. Your development has followed a different path. You show more empathy, more caution than your ancestors did. One of the guards stepped forward. Speaker, the Council chamber is calling an emergency session. Your presence is required. Torvald nodded. Take them to holding cell 7. Keep them safe but secure until the Council votes. As they were led away, Alan whispered to Ben and Tella, we need to contact Earth somehow. Warn them about what might happen. I have an idea, Tella whispered back. The holding cells are near a communications hub, if we can break away. In the Council chamber, chaos erupted as factions argued over humanity's fate. We must protect the galaxy from another progenitor mistake, shouted Kavex. Reset Earth now. Others disagreed. Humans have shown they can overcome their violent tendencies. They deserve a chance. In the holding cell, Alan paced nervously. The truth was overwhelming. Humans weren't just another evolved species. They were the remnants of the most advanced civilization the galaxy had ever known, given a second chance after nearly destroying everything. If we are the progenitors, he said quietly, then their mistakes are lessons we can learn from, not fate we're doomed to repeat. Ben looked at him. We need to make the Council see that. Somehow, the guards led Alan, Ben, and Tella through a long corridor toward the holding cells. As they passed the communications hub, Tella suddenly stumbled and fell against one of the guards. Sorry, she said. My legs aren't used to running through maintenance tunnels. The distraction gave Ben the moment he needed. With quick movements, he disabled 2 guards while Alan grabbed the third. Tella rushed to the communications panel. I can open a direct line to the Endeavour, she said, her fingers flying over the controls, but only for a few seconds before they detected. The screen flickered, and Olivia's surprised face appeared. Ellen, what's happening? No time, Alan said quickly. Humans are the progenitors, an ancient species that used a weapon on themselves to erase their memories. The Council is voting on whether to reset Earth or let us join them. Get this message to everyone on Earth. We need to show them we've changed, that we won't repeat the mistakes of the past. The connection cut off as alarms blared. More guards rushed toward them. "Run," Ben shouted. Instead of running, Alan turned toward the council chambers. "No more running. We need to face them directly." They fought their way to the main council hall and burst through the doors. Hundreds of alien representatives turned in shock as the three fugitives stumbled in, guards close behind. "Stop," Alan shouted. "Before you vote on humanity's fate, hear us out." The chamber fell silent. Speaker Torvald rose from his seat. "You have broken from custody. Why should we listen?" "Because we are the progenitors," Alan said firmly. "This is our heritage too. We deserve a voice in this decision." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Torvald hesitated, then nodded. "Speak, human." Alan stepped forward. "Yes, humans are the progenitors. Yes, we carry the same creativity and imagination that made our ancestors both brilliant and dangerous. But we are not doomed to repeat their mistakes." He gestured around the room. "Look at Earth's history. We faced extinction many times, through wars, plagues, environmental disasters. Each time, we've pulled back from the edge. We've learned. We're already developing ethical frameworks for artificial intelligence because we've imagined the dangers in our fiction for decades." On Earth, Olivia broadcast Alan's message globally. People everywhere learned the truth about humanity's origins. Instead of panic, a strange sense of purpose spread. Governments issued joint statements pledging caution with AI development. Scientists proposed new safeguards for dangerous technologies. Back in the council chamber, Kivex laughed harshly. "Pretty words, but your species still fights wars. You still destroy your environment. You still create weapons." "We're not perfect," Ben admitted, "but we're trying to be better. That's the difference between us and the original progenitors. We question ourselves. We doubt. We worry about the future." Tella stepped forward. "The ancient records show the progenitors were arrogant. They never doubted their right to create whatever they imagined. Humans have humility the progenitors lacked." The council debated for hours. Finally, Speaker Torvald called for a vote. The chamber grew tense as the results appeared on the main screen. By a narrow margin, the council voted to reveal the truth to humanity and offer guidance rather than reset Earth. "The quarantine will be lifted," Torvald announced. "Earth will join the galactic community, but with supervision as you develop certain technologies." Alan smiled with relief. "That's all we ask. A chance to learn from the past rather than repeat it." Later, as the three friends watched from an observation deck, the blockade around Earth's solar system dispersed. Ships from dozens of worlds approached Earth in peace. "What happens now?" Ben asked. "Now we face our past," Alan replied, "and build a better future than the progenitors could imagine." Tella looked at the distant stars. "The cycle doesn't have to repeat. That's what the council never understood. History isn't destiny. It's just a lesson." As the first alien diplomatic ships landed on Earth, humanity stood at a crossroads, armed with knowledge of their true origins and determined not to make the same mistakes twice.